Let me ask you something very honestly. How many days of your life have passed where you told yourself, from tomorrow I will change, and tomorrow never came? How many nights have you gone to bed tired, not because you worked too hard, but because you thought too much? We don't lose life in one big failure, we lose it quietly, in forever wondering days, wondering what would have happened if I had started, wondering who I could have become if I had believed. And today, as 2026 is standing right in front of us like a clean page, I want to tell you one thing with full clarity. This year doesn't need more wishes, it needs better goals. You see, most people don't fail because they are weak. They fail because they are confused. They wake up with noise in their mind, rush through the day without direction, and sleep with regret in their heart. Life then becomes a cycle. Wake up, scroll, work, worry, sleep, repeat, and years pass. But growth doesn't. Goals are not about pressure. Goals are about clarity. When your goals are aligned, your mind becomes silent. When your mind is silent, your actions become powerful. So today, I'm not here to motivate you for 1 hour. I'm here to help you set goals that will quietly change your entire 2026. Not loudly, but deeply, not for society, but for your soul. Most people don't realize this, but life is not defeated by big failures, it is slowly drained by small postponements. The habit of saying, I'll do tomorrow, looks harmless in daily life. But tomorrow quietly becomes weeks. Weeks become years, and one day you wake up realizing that the life you imagined has been lived only in your mind. These are what I call forever wandering days. Days when you are not fully unhappy but never truly fulfilled. Days when you sit with a cup of tea, scrolling on your phone, watching others live the life you once planned for yourself. And you whisper inside, what if I had started earlier? Think about a simple daily example. A person wants to wake up early, not at 4 a.m., not to become a monk, just 30 minutes earlier to walk, to breathe, to feel alive. The alarm rings. The mind immediately negotiates just 5 more minutes. That 5 minutes steals the walk. The missed walk steals energy. Low energy steals discipline. And discipline lost today becomes regret tomorrow. Nothing dramatic happened, yet something precious was lost. One more wandering day was added to life. Forever wandering days are dangerous because they feel comfortable. There is no pain strong enough to force change. There is only a soft dissatisfaction, a quiet emptiness that sits with you at night. You are doing okay, but you know deep inside that you are capable of more. And that awareness, when ignored daily, turns into self-doubt. Not because you lack ability, but because you keep breaking promises to yourself. Look at how this shows up in relationships. You want to communicate better. You want to say sorry. You want to express love. But you wait for the right moment. Days pass, distance grows. Then one day, the relationship changes and you sit alone wondering, why didn't I speak when I had the chance? Life rarely punishes us loudly. It teaches us silently through missed moments. Ending forever wandering days does not require grand goals. It requires one honest decision to act before the mind creates excuses. The mind is clever. It will always tell you why now is not the right time. It will ask for more motivation, more clarity, more confidence. But clarity comes after action, not before. Confidence is built by doing small, uncomfortable things consistently, not by waiting to feel ready. Observe people who are at peace. They are not extraordinary. They simply respect time and effort. When they feel inspired, they act. When they don't feel inspired, they still act. Just gently, just a little. That small movement saves them from regret. A person who reads 2 pages daily may feel it's nothing, but after a year, they have read many books. A person who saves a small amount consistently feels no pressure, yet builds security. Small actions done today protect you from big regrets tomorrow. There is also a deeper spiritual layer to this. Life is not random. Each day is a gift entrusted to you. When you postpone living consciously, it's not just productivity you delay, it's growth of the soul. The higher presence that supports life does not ask for perfection, only sincerity. When effort is honest, support appears. But support cannot bless hesitation, it blesses movement. Ending forever wandering days also means accepting imperfection. Many people wait because they fear doing things wrong. But a wrong step taken with awareness teaches more than a perfect plan never executed. Even mistakes become teachers when you show up daily. Regret, on the other hand, teaches nothing. It only drains energy. In daily life, this change looks very simple. You speak when your heart says speak. You start when your mind says wait. You take responsibility instead of blaming time, people, or circumstances. You stop saying one day and start saying today, just a little. And slowly, something beautiful happens. You begin trusting yourself again. Self-trust is the foundation of inner peace. When you end forever wondering days, nights feel lighter. You sleep knowing you tried. Even if results didn't come, effort did, and effort always strengthens the soul. Over time, your life stops feeling like a question mark and starts feeling like a journey. Not perfect, not easy, but honest. Remember this, the pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret is permanent. 2026 does not need you to be fearless. It only needs you to stop delaying the life you already know you deserve. Start small, start scared, start imperfect. Just don't keep wondering. Most people believe that the solution to a chaotic life is to move faster. Wake up earlier, work harder, multitask more, stay busy, stay available, stay connected. But the truth is very different. Life does not become better when speed increases. It becomes better when noise decreases. Noise is not just sound. Noise is unnecessary information, emotional overload, comparison, opinions, expectations, and constant mental chatter. When noise fills the mind, even the right path feels confusing. Look at a simple daily scene. You wake up in the morning, and before your feet touch the ground, your phone lights up. Messages, notifications, news, videos, someone else's success, someone else's problem. Within 5 minutes, your mind is already crowded. You haven't even met yourself yet, but you've met the whole world. Then you rush. Breakfast is rushed. Conversations are rushed. Even prayers or quiet moments feel hurried. By night, you are exhausted, not because the day was meaningful, but because the mind never rested. Speed without silence creates anxiety. A fast-moving car without brakes is dangerous. Similarly, a fast-moving life without inner quiet leads to burnout. Many people today are doing the right things but feeling the wrong way. They have goals, jobs, relationships, yet inside there is restlessness. Why? Because the mind is overloaded. Too much input, too little reflection. Reducing noise does not mean escaping responsibilities. It means choosing what deserves your attention. For example, think of a person who listens to everyone's advice. Family says one thing, friends say another, social media says something else. Motivational videos say something completely different. Slowly, that person loses their own voice. Decisions become difficult, confidence drops, life starts feeling heavy. Not because choices are wrong, but because there are too many voices shouting inside. When you reduce noise, clarity naturally appears. Think of a glass of muddy water. If you keep shaking it, it stays unclear. But if you let it sit quietly, the mud settles and the water becomes clear on its own. Your mind works the same way. Silence is not forcing answers, it is allowing answers to rise. In daily life, reducing noise looks very practical. It is choosing not to check the phone every few minutes. It is deciding that not every message needs an immediate reply. It is understanding that not every opinion deserves space in your heart. It is learning to say, "This is enough for today." These small boundaries protect your mental peace. Noise also comes from emotional clutter, holding on to past conversations, replaying arguments, worrying about future outcomes. The mind travels constantly between yesterday and tomorrow, forgetting that life only happens now. When noise is high, presence is low. And without presence, even beautiful moments feel empty. Observe people who move calmly. They are not slow, they are selective. They speak less but mean more. They listen deeply but respond thoughtfully. They do not rush decisions because they are not pressured by comparison. Their power comes from inner stillness. Silence gives weight to their actions. There is also a spiritual truth here. The higher intelligence that guides life speaks softly. It does not shout, it does not rush, it whispers through intuition, peace, and inner alignment. When your life is filled with noise, you cannot hear that guidance. Reducing noise is not about doing less, it is about listening more. Speed creates the illusion of progress. Silence creates real progress. A person who slows down to understand themselves grows faster in the long run than someone who keeps running without direction. Many mistakes in life are not because we didn't know what to do, but because we didn't pause long enough to listen within. Reducing noise also heals relationships. When the mind is calm, you listen without reacting. You speak without hurting. You understand without judging. Most conflicts are not about problems, they are about overwhelmed minds. A silent mind responds with wisdom instead of ego. In practical terms, this means creating small pockets of quiet in your day, eating without screens, walking without headphones sometimes, sitting alone for a few minutes without doing anything. At first, silence feels uncomfortable because we are addicted to stimulation, but soon silence becomes comforting. It feels like coming home. When you reduce noise, you don't lose productivity, you gain direction. You don't lose connections, you gain depth. You don't lose time, you gain life. Speed impresses the world, but silence transforms the soul. 2026 does not need you to run faster, it needs you to listen deeper. When noise reduces, effort becomes effortless, decisions become simple, and life, which once felt overwhelming, starts flowing with quiet confidence. In a world that constantly demands your attention, silence has quietly become one of the most powerful practices you can bring into your life. Yet for many people, silence feels uncomfortable, even frightening. The moment everything becomes quiet, the mind starts talking louder. Old worries appear, unfinished conversations replay, future fears knock at the door. Because of this, people stay busy, stay distracted, stay surrounded by noise. But what they don't realize is that silence is not the absence of life, it is the space where life finally makes sense. Think about daily life. When your phone battery is low, you don't keep using it harder, you switch it off or plug it in. Silence works the same way for the mind. Constant talking, scrolling, listening, reacting drains inner energy. Silence recharges it. Even a few minutes of intentional quiet can change the quality of your entire day. Look at a simple example. A person comes home after a long day. Instead of sitting quietly for a moment, they turn on the TV, check messages, scroll through videos. The body is resting, but the mind is still running. Later, they complain of tiredness, anxiety, or irritation. Now imagine the same person sitting quietly for 10 minutes. No phone, no conversation, just breathing and being aware. Slowly, the shoulders relax, the breath deepens, the mind settles. Nothing on the outside changed, but everything on the inside did. Silence is no about sitting in a temple or on a mountain. It is about creating small pauses within normal life. Silence while drinking tea, silence while walking, silence before speaking. These moments allow you to observe your thoughts instead of being controlled by them. When you observe the mind, you realize that many thoughts are unnecessary. They create fear without reason and stress without purpose. Practicing silence daily also improves decision making. Most strong decisions are made in emotional noise. Anger speaks fast. Fear speaks loudly. Ego demands urgency. Silence allows wisdom to enter. When you pause before reacting, you give intelligence time to rise. Even one deep breath of silence can prevent words you might regret later. In relationships, silence is deeply healing. Many arguments don't need answers, they need space. When you listen silently instead of reacting instantly, you understand more than words can explain. Silence creates safety. It tells the other person, I am present, I am listening. Often, that alone resolves half the conflict. Silence also builds self-awareness. When the world becomes quiet, you meet yourself honestly. You start noticing your patterns, your triggers, your desires. This awareness is the foundation of personal growth. Without silence, growth becomes imitation. With silence, growth becomes authentic. Spiritually, silence is sacred. The higher presence that guides life does not communicate through noise and pressure. It communicates through each calm intuition, gentle insight, and inner peace. When you practice silence, you create a bridge between effort and grace. You stop forcing life and start flowing with it. Many people fear silence because they associate it with loneliness. But silence is not loneliness, it is connection with self. Loneliness hurts, silence heals. In silence, you realize you are not empty, you are full of breath, awareness, and life itself. In practical terms, practicing silence daily means giving yourself permission to pause. You don't need to explain it to anyone. You don't need to justify it. Just sit, just breathe, just be. Over time, the mind learns to relax. The heart feels lighter. Life feels less rushed. Silence also sharpens focus. When the mind is calm, attention becomes strong. Tasks that once felt heavy become easier. Creativity flows naturally. You stop wasting energy on overthinking and start using it on meaningful action. At first, silence may feel boring. That's because the mind is addicted to stimulation. But boredom is not the enemy, it is the doorway. When you pass through boredom, you reach clarity. And clarity changes everything. A person who practices silence daily becomes grounded. Situations don't shake them easily. Criticism doesn't disturb them deeply. Success doesn't inflate them excessively. They move through life with balance. This balance is not learned from books, it is born from silence. In the end, silence is not something you add to life, it is something you allow. And when you allow silence, life begins to speak in ways you never heard before. Not loudly, not dramatically, but truthfully. Most people secretly suffer because they chase an invisible standard called perfection. They wake up with a heavy thought in their mind, I am not good enough yet. So they delay starting. They hesitate to try. They overthink every move. And while they wait to become perfect, life quietly keeps moving forward. This is why measuring progress instead of perfection can completely change how you experience your days, your efforts, and yourself. Perfection is a dangerous illusion because it promises confidence but delivers fear. The more you try to be perfect, the more scared you become of making mistakes. Look at daily life. A student keeps rewriting notes but never revises. A person keeps planning a business but never launches. Someone wants to speak confidently but stays silent because they fear saying the wrong thing. On the outside, it looks like preparation. On the inside, it is fear wearing a polite mask. Progress, on the other hand, is honest. It doesn't ask you to be flawless, it asks you to show up. Even 5 minutes of effort is progress. Even a small improvement counts. Progress respects consistency more than intensity. And consistency builds self-trust. When you keep small promises to yourself, you start believing in yourself again. Think about fitness. No one becomes strong in one workout. But many people quit because they don't see instant results. They compare their day 1 with someone else's year 10. That comparison kills motivation. But if you measure progress correctly, you notice something powerful. Today you walked 5 minutes more than yesterday. Today you chose water over soda. Today you showed up even when you didn't feel like it. These are victories. They may not impress others, but they transform you. Perfection is noisy. It keeps shouting, not enough. Progress is quiet. It whispers better than before. One creates pressure, the other creates peace. When you focus on progress, effort feels lighter. You stop being harsh with yourself. You start appreciating growth instead of criticizing gaps. In work life, many people feel exhausted, not because work is hard, but because expectations are unrealistic. They expect themselves to perform at 100% every day. But human energy fluctuates. Some days are strong, some days are slow. Measuring progress allows you to respect your natural rhythm. Even on low energy days, doing a little keeps the chain unbroken. And an unbroken chain builds confidence. Progress also teaches patience. Results take time. Growth takes repetition. When you stop rushing outcomes and start honoring effort, anxiety reduces. You become more present. You enjoy the process instead of constantly chasing the finish line. In relationships, perfection creates distance. People try to say the perfect words, act the perfect way, and hide their flaws. But relationships grow. Through progress, not perfection. Saying sorry a little faster than before. Listening a little better than yesterday. Reacting a little less emotionally than last time. These small improvements create deep bonds. There is also a spiritual wisdom here. Life itself is a journey, not a performance. You are not here to impress, you are here to evolve. Growth happens step by step. The higher presence that guides life does not measure you by outcomes, but by sincerity. When effort is honest, grace supports it. Measuring progress also protects mental health. Perfection creates burnout because it is never satisfied. There is always more to fix. Progress creates motivation because it celebrates movement. Even slow movement is movement. And movement keeps life flowing. Daily life becomes kinder when you adopt this mindset. You stop beating yourself up for missing a day and instead focus on returning the next day. You stop quitting because of one failure and instead learn from it. You stop labeling yourself and start understanding yourself. Over time, something beautiful happens. You look back and realize how far you've come. Not because you were perfect, but because you were persistent. The version of you that once struggled becomes proof that growth is real. Progress may not look glamorous on social media, but it feels peaceful in real life. And peace is the true sign of success. When you measure progress instead of perfection, you stop fighting yourself. You start walking with yourself. And that companionship changes everything. Most people believe their biggest struggles come from the outside, difficult people, unfair situations, unexpected problems. But in reality, the strongest battles are fought inside. Emotions rise suddenly, words escape quickly, reactions happen instantly, and later regret quietly follows. This is why emotional discipline is not about suppressing feelings, it is about guiding them. It is the ability to pause between feeling and reacting, and that pause can completely change the direction of your life. Look at daily life. Someone says something small, maybe unintentionally rude. Instantly, anger rises. The heart beats faster. The mind prepares sharp words. In that moment, there are two paths. One is reaction, speaking from emotion, damaging relationships, creating long-term consequences from a short-term feeling. The other is discipline, taking a breath, allowing the emotion to settle,